What is up, everybody? It has been so long since I've done a motovlog. For those of you who've been with me for a long time, you know that's where my YouTube channel started, with motovlogging on this bike right here. Of course, I looked a little different back then using my Motopilot helmet, which was my gimmick at the time. Most people either loved it or hated it. The heck? Dude, what? Oh, stuck on the sidewalk, man. I couldn't even turn my front end. So I figured I would tell you guys the unusual story about how I landed my job at Performance Machine. If you've never heard of Performance Machine, they are the leading manufacturer of performance billet products, mostly for V-twins. We're talking wheels, brake calipers, running boards, forks. It's a ton of stuff that we make. Whoa, what the hell? Something just hit my leg. But I think I need to give you a brief little synopsis of my career as a designer, primarily in the motorcycle industry, so you can understand how I was able to land a job like this. And what I just showed you before I got on the bike, that's my new office there. I just moved in yesterday, actually, and in the new building that we just moved into. And it's a sweet new pad. And normally there's only a handful of bikes today. Normally there's about 6 bikes parked out front. So as I'm talking to you guys, I'm going to ride toward the old building and just show you guys what that place was like. Give us a destination. I'm actually on my lunch right now. Oh, by the way, yeah, I know you're digging on my shield here, my windscreen, my big, tall adventure windscreen with the little added bonus feature here. I know it's super corny, old man style, but man, it works good on those cold mornings. Anyhow, let's go back in time, and when I began my career as a designer in the motorcycle industry, I was actually working for MSR, you know, the motocross clothing gear company, Malcolm Smith Racing, basically designing their catalogs and really anything on the creative side that they needed. And I was there, and back then I was an avid motocross racer. I was riding pro and all that, and so it was the perfect job, like a dream job for most people, you know. And I was there for many, many years, like 18 years. Then I went and worked for Scorpion Helmets, mostly street bike helmets, but they do make dirt helmets and riding gear. That was a great job for a few years. And then I ended up back at MSR, and then got kind of shuffled over to Speed and Strength, which was another in-house brand. And, you know, Speed and Strength, the street gear company, was their design. I designed their entire 2019 line, their 2020 line. Well, what happened was they called me in an office one day and just said, your job's being eliminated. I'm like, what? Like, how can you eliminate my job? I'm the only designer for this brand doing everything. Like, get rid of me, you're just replacing me or what? And it was really shocking news. They're like, well, we're taking the entire brand and we're moving it to Canada. I'm like, wow, talk about a shocker, man. But the good thing is they gave me a 6-month severance, which was like huge. And I was kind of stoked, you know, I was a little bit burnt out on the brand. I was designing a lot of product, and it's very tedious work. So when they let me go, I was like, great, I've got 6 months to land me something else. It was actually kind of a relief. So I was just kind of chilling at home, doing my YouTube videos, collecting unemployment, and also collecting my normal salary for 6 months. And then COVID hit, and my unemployment like skyrocketed to like $1,000 a week. So I was rolling in the money, man. I have more money in my bank account than I've ever had, and I hadn't worked in many, many months. Now let me tell you about how my YouTube channel was working out. Things were getting off because I couldn't get the parts for my VFR 800 build that I'm involved with now. I'm doing a custom front end on it, and without that I couldn't do any more videos on it, so that build came to a halt, okay? And this is a very important part of the story. I'm like, what am I going to do for videos? I just sold my, I'm like, well, what am I going to do for videos? I just sold my my bobber that I built from a Harley Fat Boy, and I bought a Bagger Street Glide. And I'm like, well, I want to do a bunch of cool work to this bike, so I'll do a video series on this while I'm waiting for my VFR parts to come in. All right, this is the old building right here. Oh, they already painted over our sign and everything. Oh, there's one of our old vans out front. I don't know what it's doing here. This is our old place here. Progressive suspension. By the way, we also do progressive suspension and Burley brand in-house. Okay, so I started doing videos on my bagger, and I'm like, well, what I do when I do my builds is I contact all these companies and say, hey, if you get me free parts for this bike, I'll make you a dedicated video and I'll give you guys exposure. Good marketing for them, good for me, I get free products. Well, one of the Performance Machine was one of the big sponsors of my build on my Harley Fat Boy Bobber, so I hit them up because I love their stuff. It's a premium brand. Well, at the time, they're like, we're in the middle of COVID. We're shut down for 6 weeks. We're not doing any marketing. You know, maybe get back to us in a couple months or so. I'm like, okay, you know, it's what it is. Can't fight it. Well, literally 3 months after that, and about the time my unemployment was running out, I get a phone call one day. Hey, Scott, it's David with Performance Machine. Are you still doing your bagger build? And if so, we're interested in being a part of the build. I'm like, awesome, David, great to hear from you. He's like, well, what do you want from us? And I'm like, well, I'd like to get some nice billet wheels, some nice brakes, some running boards, all the foot controls, you know, shifter, back brake, whatever you guys want to do, let's do it. They were super generous, man. They gave me all kinds, like $6,000 in great, beautiful billet performance products for this bike. But as this story goes, when I'm talking on the phone, we're talking about what wheels they want me to run on this build. I'm like, well, I mean, I need to like the wheels too. Can I look at them on your website? And David says, well, they're not on our website. And I'm like, that's kind of strange. You have a $1,400 wheel and it's not even on your website? That seems kind of important. I can't wait any longer. Let's go this way. He's like, yeah, we're really behind and short-staffed on our design work. And I'm like, really? So we finish our conversation and my brain gets turning and I'm like, well, shoot, man, I'd be perfect for that place. I know Harley Davidson's. I can design anything they need. Now, granted, keep in mind, I don't design the product. That's done in our engineering department. What I design is advertising, websites, e-blasts. I do their social media, you know, Instagram, Facebook. I design videos for them. I mean, I basically do everything creative but design product. So as I said, we finished our phone call and I'm like, you know what, I need to follow up on this. So I sent David an email and said, hey, you know, here's my background. Here is my resume. Here's my online digital portfolio. I'd be very interested in talking to you guys about, you know, your graphic designer position. He's like, awesome, we're actually interviewing. When can you come in? And I think I went in 2 days later and got basically a job offer that day. Let's go, dude. Yeah, man, let's go. What are you waiting for? Okay, I gotta say a pet peeve of mine is people that just slack when it comes to turning right on a red light when there's nobody coming. I get a job offer and I started like within 5 days I went from being totally unemployed to having a job interview to starting this new job. And that was about 6 months ago. So now I'm basically the only designer for Performance Machine, you know, graphic designer, also progressive suspension and Burley brand. It's so awesome working for a company in the motorcycle industry. You know me, I'm big on Harleys. I'm big on checking out my Harleys. Performance Machine has always been one of my go-to brands. You know, it's funny when you're unemployed, you're thinking, what does my future hold? Where am I going to end up? I would have never guessed I'm going to end up at Performance Machine. I don't know why. I just always thought they had, you know, a full team of guys in there. They're not going to need anybody. And it just kind of happened, man. All the stars lined up. I went, you know, if I wasn't doing this YouTube build on my Street Glide, I would have never been in contact with them directly. If I hadn't gotten fired from Speed and Strength, which essentially made it to where, okay, it's kind of hard to explain, but Speed and Strength was also owned by Tucker Distributing, and Tucker would always supply me everything I needed for my bike builds. Because they carry Performance Machine, they carry progressive suspension, they carry all the brands I would need. So rather than go directly to the brands individually, I would just go to Tucker, I would email them what I want, they'd be like, next thing I know, it would show up at my front door. So when I got let go from the company, I no longer had them supplying me the parts, which meant I had to go to each brand directly to try to get them to sponsor my videos. That's why I contacted Performance Machine. And that's how I ended up finding out they needed a graphic designer, and that's how I got my job. So once again, getting fired from Speed and Strength was kind of a blessing in disguise. And I know a lot of you guys are probably wondering what is going on. I'm going to tell you this too. My channel has suffered and gotten misguided in the last 6 months, and it's paying the price, and it's all my own fault. I take full responsibility. The VFR build, kind of not my fault that it came to a halt, because I'm counting on Cognito Moto to get me my front forks and triple clamps and the front wheel. But you know, it is what it is. So let me give you an update, because a lot of you are probably wondering what's going on with the VFR 800 build. Well, right before I put on my helmet to make this video, I got a text message from my guy over at Cognito Moto about my front forks, and he's like, what's your shipping address? Everything's done, coming your way. I'm like, sweet. It has been 6 months waiting on my triple clamps, my front forks, and my front wheel for this bike. So the good news is that build should be back in motion within a couple of weeks. He's across the United States. I might not even see the parts for 5 to 7 days. And then I got to make the video. So be patient, everybody. We'll get back on track. Do any of you guys work in the motorcycle industry, or do you have an unusual story about how you landed the job you have, whatever job that may be? Just kind of curious if anybody else has a crazy story like me. I got to get back to my office and eat my lunch and get back to the drawing board. Hey guys, thanks for hanging out. Hope you enjoyed this video. The usual drill: like, subscribe, comment. I'm going to try to do more moto vlogs. They're super easy to do. I can just jump on my bike on my lunch hour and bang one out and talk to you guys about whatever. Anyways, I got to quit yapping. I'll see you guys in the next video.